let's get back into where we were on Tuesday. Okay, so first thing I've done here is I've just made a simple sequence. So for the first one, -2, 4, 10, 16, and the second one, 5, -1, -7, -13. And all I'm wanting for this is to find a TN formula. Okay, so I'm wondering if I should do the first one with you, just in case. So if you're feeling confident with this, that's fine. You're welcome to get going on it so long. If you're not feeling too confident, then I'm going to help you with the first one, and then you can do the second one by yourself as we move through this lesson. Okay. So first thing we want to do when we are looking for a formula is I like to put the position, that's our n, on top of each number. You don't have to do that. It just helps us see what's going on. Okay. Next thing we look for is our common difference. So what are we going up in each time? So how do we go from -2 to 4? How would we go from 4 to 10? How would we go from 10 to 16? Good, exactly. So for every time we are increasing by 6, which means that our constant difference is 6. So when we're working with our TN formula, we say TN is equal to, we take that constant difference, we multiply it by n, and then we think about this first pair over here. So we think, well, if n is 1, then it would be 6 times 1, which gives me 6, and I want -2. So to go from 6 to -2, I'm going to have to subtract 8. And so that would be my formula for this sequence. Okay. And next year you'll learn, they'll give you different ways that you can find these formulas or these rules, but this way will work forever. So it's sort of like the quick way for you to see what's going on, and you can rely on it all the way to matric. Okay, so I've helped you with the first one. I wanted to try bring your memory back from Tuesday, focus it in, try and think about the steps that I did there in A, and I want you to apply them into B. And when you have answers, you can start putting them through in the chat. So if you are still working and you're struggling a little bit, don't look at the chat too much until you've ready with your answer. Vilenda, this is pure maths, not Mathslit. So Mathslit only starts from grade 10, but in Watobe, we're not doing Mathslit, we're only doing pure maths. Okay, so at the moment, I'm wanting you to focus on B. Try and think about the steps that we did. Try not fall for my trap that I have set for you. And we'll see. In my opinion, which is easier, Mathslit or pure maths? It's difficult to say which one is easier. They have different skills that they test. I think people think of it as like maths and then a much easier version of maths is Mathslit, but they really are two very different subjects. So maths focuses on the maths that you would do in university, things like calculus and things like function work, and Mathslit focuses on skills that would be useful in different types of jobs. So you look at budgeting, you look at sort of real life costs of things, You look at design, so spatial awareness. So they're very different subjects. And it depends on what you would study after university as to how you would choose your subject. Okay, I see we have some answers coming in, which is great. Okay, so let's have a look. So let's go through this step by step. First step is we want to find what our, well, let's first just quickly do our positions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, so on, so on. And then we have to look at our constant difference. Okay, and so every time to get from 5 to -1, I had to subtract 6. And then I had to subtract 6 again, and I had to subtract 6 again. So I know before I do anything fancy that I'm going to have Tn is equal to -6n. Now, did anyone fall for my trap and say 6n and not -6?
I did.
Let me know if you fell for that trap. Lutando, did you fall for that trap?
Yeah, I fell for it. And then I realized that I had to put it negative.
Okay, but so you realized the trap and then you took out, you came back out of it. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. No other people fell for my trap. I'm a little bit sad. I mean, I'm happy that you're understanding, but I am a little bit sad. All right, so we have -6n. Then we have a look at our first pair over here. So we've got 1 and 5. And so if I have -6 times 1, I'm going to get -6. How would I get to 5 from -6? I have to add 11. And so I'm going to have -6n plus 11. And that's going to be my answer. Okay, can you give me an idea of how you found these questions, giving from 0 to 10? So 0, you had no idea what was going on, and you didn't even know where to start. 10, you were completely happy, and you were fine. Cool. Yeah, it is easier when you're not using integers. That's absolutely right. I just saw a question here in the mix. It's just about the maths lit situation. You have to do pure maths or core maths if you're wanting to go into anything medical or in the sciences. Okay. Tato, are you okay with how you, okay, so a couple of people struggling with 11. So let's just go over the 11 one more time, and then we're going to move on to the next ones. But for the rest of today's lesson, it's all focusing on these pattern works. So you'll get lots of practice with it. And so by the end, hopefully you'll feel a little bit more confident. Okay. For the first one, you don't even need to think of 1. The number that I really want you to just focus on is this guy over here, this first number, that 5. Okay, so just think about your -6. So you don't even need to think, okay, I'm saying -6 times 1. Just think, okay, it's -6. And I don't want -6. I want the number that I'm looking for is 5. And so if I was on -6, but I want my answer to be 5, what would I have to add or subtract to get from -6 to 11, up to 5? And so to get from -6 to 5, I have to add 11. So if I add 11 onto -6, I'm going to get 5. Okay. So you don't even need to really think, okay, n is 1, and so I'm saying 6 times 1. If you just take this number, whatever that number is, whatever that constant difference was, and think, how am I going to get that number? You will always get to where you need to go. Okay. Cool. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this guy over here. So this is where we started well, this is where we ended off our lesson on Tuesday, but we had to kind of rush through it a little bit towards the end because our lesson time was coming to an end. So it's just an idea of focusing on figuring out what our pattern is, so figuring out what TN is, then figuring out what a term would be, and then figuring out what a position would be. Okay, so the first thing that I want everyone to focus on, if you're feeling great, you're welcome to work through all of these immediately. But the first thing I want everyone to focus on is just A. So I want you to look at this formula that I've got up here. I want you to think about what we've just done for the last two formulas, and I want you to write out our TN formula for the sequence 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so TN is equal to something, something, something. See how it goes. And then I'll go through it with you. But once you have an answer, you're welcome to put it in the chat, and we can go through it from there. I see someone fell for the trap. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so always make sure that you're writing TN at the beginning, because that's how we're showing that's what the full equation would be. Otherwise, we're just writing an algebraic expression. So always make sure you write what it's equal to. It's okay, MK. Thanks for letting us know. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to find our constant difference. So over here, our constant difference, every time we are getting one less, which means we are subtracting one each time. And so our constant difference is -1. Okay, and I'm going to start writing it like that because as you move into grade 10, that's how you're going to start writing it, because you're going to be using a different formula in grade 10. Don't worry, it's not scary. It makes life a little bit easier, actually. So we have our difference, which is -1. Then we think about what TN is going to be. Let me write this in this box that I've made for myself that I'm not utilizing nicely. Okay, so we have TN is equal to our constant difference times N. And so now we're going to think, okay, what is our constant difference? It's -1. And how would we get to 4 from -1? In order to get from -1 to 4, I would have to plus 5. So I'm going to have to plus 5 to go from -1 to 4. And so my formula is going to be -1n plus 5. So those of you who have the -1n plus 3, if I had -1n plus 3, then my first term would be 2 and not 4. Okay, so that's why if we write these positions right in the beginning, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that jazz, if we substitute those values, and we can check that our formula is right. So if we have a look at this pair over here, that's saying when n is 4, then Tn would be 1. So if n was 4, that would be -1 times 4 plus 5, which is -4 plus 5, which is 1, which is what we're wanting. So once you've got your formula, put in one of the pairs to check that you're right, and then you can adjust if it's not right. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at the second question. The second question is saying hence. Hence is just a fancy word for saying you've figured something out. Use the information you figured out to do this next question. That's all it means. Okay, so it's basically saying we need to use this formula that we have figured out. Determine T32. Who can tell me what this question is trying to ask? What information have they given us? And what am I trying to solve? Who can tell me what information they've given us with the T32?
Well, that it's term 32.
Good, it is term 32. So what does that mean though, if it's term 32?
You replace the n with 32.
Yes, good. Okay, so T32 means it is term 32, which is just meaning that our n or our position is 32. That's all that that means. Okay, so if we know that n is 32, we're going to substitute n into our formula and we're going to figure out what our final answer is. Okay, so we'll give that a go. Cool. Okay, so we're going to substitute in our 32. So term 32 is equal to -1 times 32 plus 5, which is -32 plus 5, which is -27. And so for our final answer, it's the nicest way we could present that, the most mathematically pleasing would be this last line over here where we're saying term 32 is equal to 27. So we're saying what its value is. And what that means is if I was looking up here where I've got my positions and then my term numbers, what that means is that my n would be 32 and my Tn down here would be -27. That's what that's saying. Okay. All right, and then let's look at C. C is saying determine which term equals -44. So if I'm looking up here at these dudes up here, okay, where is the -44? Is it at the top or is it at the bottom?
It's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom. Good. Okay, so it's saying which term, as in which, whenever it's saying term, it's talking about n. So what is our n value if our bottom answer is -44?
49.
Nice. Okay, so substitute it into your equation. Give me a beautiful answer. I'll put it on the board.
48.
Oh, we're getting different answers. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it lands up being 48 or 49. We can have a contest. See which one of those you agree with, guys, or if you have a new number. Oh, I think our 48 is being beaten out by 49. Yeah.
48, man, because it already has 4 terms.
Ma'am, how did you get 49?
I promise we're gonna go through it. Oh, we have another 48 coming in. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so I'm going to write our equation out first. We've got Tn is equal to -1n plus 5. Okay, that's our first start. We now know that our Tn, because it's at the bottom of our table, is -44. So -44 is equal to -1n plus 5. Everyone happy with this point? Is there anyone who is unhappy with the line that I have just written over there? If you're unhappy with that, please let me know. Okay, okay. Joyce, where are you unhappy? At which points in that line do you feel uncertain about? The second line. Okay. So all we're doing here is we're inputting the information that it's given us. They've asked us which term. So they're saying which n value. So that means that we don't know what that n value is. But they're telling us that whatever term number it is, our Tn value would be negative 44. Okay. So we're just putting it into our first equation, which we had was Tn equals negative 1n plus 5. And now instead of Tn, we know that the answer that we're seeking is negative 44. So we're going to write negative 44. And then we can start searching for n. So now it's like an equation where we're trying to find what our n value is. So like any equation, good. In any equation, we're trying to isolate our variable, right? So I'm going to move my variable onto the other side, but I'll show you a way where you could have left it on this side. You're just going to have to divide by negative 1. But I'll show you both ways so that everyone can see what's going on. I'm going to move my 1n onto that side, and I'm going to move my 44 onto that side. You don't have to do it this way. I will show you another way. So I'm going to have positive 1n because I've moved it over the equal sign, and then I'm going to have positive 5 plus 44. So my 1n, or n, is going to be equal to 49. If you didn't move it over the equal sign, you can do it the exact same way. I'm just then going to only move my 5. So my first step, I'm going to have negative 44 is equal to negative 1n plus 5. It's exactly the same as collecting like terms. Exactly, Joyce. Okay, so plus 5. I'm going to now move this 5 onto that side. So I'm going to have negative 44 minus 5 is equal to negative 1n. So negative 49 is equal to negative 1n. And I need n to be alone. So I need to divide both sides by negative 1. And I'm going to see that n is 49. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. You'll still get your negative n equals negative 49. So n is equal to 49. MK, how can I help?
Ma'am, for when I did it, right?
Yeah.
When I took when I divided by negative 1n, instead of dividing by negative 1n, because I took it on the other side, I just divided by 1.
That's fine. So then you would have followed this light green version.
Yes, ma'am. So
Totally fine.
wait, but my answer ended up being negative 49.
Okay, but if you have positive 1n is equal to positive 49, and you're dividing that 49 by a positive 1, it's just going to be n is 49.
But like,
Because a
okay, so,
yeah.
why didn't the 1 become a positive when it crossed the
Oh, I see what you're saying. So when you times and divide, the signs don't change. So like here where let me just try and highlight this so you can see what I'm meaning. Here where I divided by negative 1, I'm also dividing by negative 1. The signs are only changing when we plussing and minusing and jumping over the equal sign.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Cool. Can we keep going? Let's get going. I've got a puzzle for you. Yes. I've got a puzzle that's Easter themed, which I'm excited about. Okay, give this one a go. Let's see how it goes. I'd like for you to try all 3. C is a little bit different to the questions that I've been asking. It's just to make you think a little bit differently. It's just sort of one step up. So first thing, we should all be super comfortable about this now, is finding your Tn. That should be like something easy that we can just pull out of our pockets. It's a skill we have now. is 118 a term in the sequence? Think about what that means. And then which term is the first term to be bigger than 312? Okay, so as soon as you have your answers coming through, try and get them all done. Let's see if we can get this done in a couple of minutes, then we can move down. So I'm going to give you a time limit to do these, guys. Give it your best go. If while you're working, if you struggle with something, let us know. But remember, the best thing with maths is to kind of problem solve. So if you get to a question that you're struggling with, try and figure out what you do know and then work backwards a little bit. B, there's a word there that may throw you off, but I want you to just give it a go. Chloe, just be careful to always, and Athelia, just always make sure you have TN is equal to when you're working with your number pattern equations.
Babe, I have a question.
Sure.
My B, are they asking us, is it gonna be one of the 2 5s or is it gonna be one of the ends?
It's meaning, is it going to be a number like along here? So is 118 going to be somewhere in that pattern?
Oh, okay, thank you, babe.
Okay. Unati, how can I help? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm seeing good answers coming in for A, so I'm going to go through A so long. So A, we should all be comfortable with at the moment. We look for our constant difference. Our constant difference is that we are adding 3 each time. And so we're going to have Tn is equal to 3n. How would I get 2 from 3? I'm going to subtract 1. Okay, so everyone should have been nice and happy with A. I see some answers coming in for B, which is great. Keep them coming. Okay, I'm going to go through B. Where does the -1 come from? So the -1 comes from because I have 3. So the 3n, I've got 3, and I'm trying to get to 2. So in order to get to 2 from 3, I have to minus 1. Obviously, no. So sassy for a Thursday afternoon. Okay. Very creative answer for C. Fatai. MK, talk to me.
Okay, I'm not sure about B, but when we get to C, can I try?
Yeah, that would be great. Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
let's have a look. Let's have a look at B. So B is saying, is 118 a term in the sequence? So it's saying, would this number appear at some point in the sequence? So like if I said to you, is 8 a number in the sequence? Yes, obviously 8 is a number in the sequence. And so for B, it's saying, is 118 a number in the sequence? Now, in order to us to figure that out, we need to input it into the formula and see what we get. So if I'm inputting it into the formula, and am I going to put that 118 in the place of Tn, or I'm going to put it in the place of n? Which one am I going to put it in the place of? Tn or n? Good. Is
I
she?
think TN.
Yeah, Tn, good. Okay, because it's part of my sequence, I'm going to put it into Tn. So just always think about this as a Tn and n being your positions. Okay, so it's basically saying, is there an n value for 118? So we're going to say, well, let's put it in. 118 is equal to 3n. Oh, just changing our formula, minus 1. I'm going to move my 1 over. So 118 plus 1 is equal to 3n, which means 119 is equal to 3n. Now, if I divide both sides by 3, I'm going to get a decimal. Let's figure out exactly what our decimal is going to be. I'm going to get 39,67. Now, because n is not a whole number, it means that it is not in the sequence. So if you were asked a question like this in a test or at school in an exercise or something, you would need to show all this working. You can't just say yes or no. And then once you get a decimal, then you can say therefore no, because n is not a whole number. Or you could say because n is a decimal, any one of those options is fine. But you need to give me the full explanation. So you need to show the working, and then you need to show that. You could move the 3n to the other side, but then it would be a negative 3n. Oh, because you're wanting, yeah, and then you would just divide by negative 3. That's fine. Okay, and I think we had a volunteer who was going to talk us through C. MK, yes, come join us. Tell me what to do.
Okay, so what I did was I made my 311 my Tn.
Good, good, good. That's excellent start. So we're going to make this, I'm going to make this my Tn. Good. So 311 is equal to 3n minus 1. Next step.
Yes, and then I took the 1 across the equal sign, so it became 311 plus 1.
Good.
And then I said 312 divided by 3, and that gave me 311. Wait, no. Wait, I lost the answer somewhere on my page.
Okay, but this was all good so far. Good. So that would give me 104.
Man.
Yes. Someone will say. Okay, so MK, that's great so far. We get to this point over here. So we find out that n is 104. So what does that mean about this question? Let's try and go over what this is actually telling us. This is telling us that our 104th term is 311. That's what that means. It means term number 104. So if I had the number 104 up here as a position, its answer would be 311. Think of this as that table, like how we learned these. Okay, so the question is saying which term, so which n value is the first term to be bigger than 311. So if
Yes,
term
ma'am.
104 is 311, MK, what's our answer then?
It's 314.
314?
Isn't it?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so term 104 is 311, which means that term 105 is going to be bigger than 311. So our answer is term 105. Did anyone land up getting question C right? I'm curious.
Ma'am.
Yeah?
I wrote 105, and then like underneath it, I put 314. I thought
Oh,
that's
because you
what,
worked out what it was. Oh, that's okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay. Oh, we have a few people who got C. That's awesome, because it was the first time you've seen something like this. That's great.
Ma'am,
Yes, Catherine, how can I help?
I do not understand. See.
Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
I think your sound's coming in and out.
Ma'am, I do not understand number C.
Okay, so number C is just, number C, all we're doing is we're putting in the 311 as our Tn. So we substitute that in to find out what its n value would be. Okay, so it's saying, what would this n value be up here if we know the answer is 311? And so we substituted in and we were able to find that n is 104. So we know that when n is 104, our answer would be 311. But our question is saying which term would be the first term to be bigger than 311. And so because in our term, in this pattern, we're adding 3 each time, my next number over here, I would be adding 3, would be 314. And that would be term 105. And so that would be my first term. My first term would be 105, is the first term that is bigger than 311.
So, ma'am, would I lose marks for writing it the way I did? Because like, I wrote C is equals to 105, and then like a line, and then 314. Because that's
no, that would be fine, but it would be better for you to write it as T105. Did you write T?
yeah.
Then you're fine.
No, I just wrote 105.
Okay, so next time just write T, because then you're saying term 105, and then it's not ambiguous at all.
Okay. Yes. Ma'am.
Okay, nice work, guys. I'm just going to take you through to a puzzle, and then we're going to come through some more questions like this, so don't panic. Okay, Joyce, all okay?
I wanted to ask you if it wouldn't be a problem if you would go through C again, because it's a bit confusing.
We're going to go through a question just like C in our next question. So it'll be
Okay.
like a good repeat of this, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'm quickly going to give you your puzzle for today, and then we'll go through another question like that one, and then we're going to have our quiz because it's Thursday. So here is your puzzle for the day. Let's see who lands up being victorious. As soon as you have an answer, chuck your answer in the chat for me.
Ma'am, first one is 3 times 3 times 3.
Okay, good. But now you're helping other people.
Sorry.
But yes, your chicken and your egg is 3. So I'm wanting to know what my final answer is over here. And as soon as you have an answer, chuck it in the chat. Zoom out, okay? Did I miss any answers that came through? Ah, Katleho, yes. And Avile, yes, guys, and Kiara. Woo, on fire today. And Zoe. Nice, guys, the answer is definitely 5. Maybe I made it too easy today. Avile, well done, man. Okay, let's quickly go through this and then let's go back into our patterns. As Catherine said earlier, helping you all out, 3 times 3 times 3 is going to give us 27, which means our chicken and our egg is 3. And then we're going to think, well, 52 minus 3 is going to give us 49, which means something times something has to be 49. So our tulips are 7. And so this is 7 minus 3, which is 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. Nice job. Well done, guys. Woo! On fire. Okay, let's quickly, I know I'm like going through this quickly, but it's because I want you to have another chance with another pattern question before the end of this. I wonder if this one, let's do this one, because then it's got a question like the last one. Okay, So just to save with time for those of you who are struggling, because I don't have a huge amount of time with you left because it's our quiz day, I'm going to help you with the first part. So I'm going to help you with your TN, and then the rest are ones that you can go through, and then I'm going to go through them with you. Okay, so this is position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, and I am increasing by 3 each time. And so TN is going to equal 3n. How would I get to 0 from 3n? I have to minus 3. Okay. So I've got TN. Done.
Sorry, ma'am.
Hi.
From 0 to get 3, aren't we supposed to add 3?
I'm trying to get to 0 from 3. So I have 3 at the moment, and I want 0.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so try and give B a try, and then try and give C a try. C is the one that you stumbled with in the last one. And let's lose question D for the moment. Your brain had a heart attack. Okay. Think about your table. That's not what I'm wanting. Think about your table. This is your N. This is your TN. Okay. If we're having a look at this, so is 118 a term in the sequence? So we're saying, is 118 one of these numbers over here? And we're wanting to figure out if I would have an N value for 118. So we're going to do it the same way we did the question in our previous one. We're going to input our 118 as Tn. And we're going to see if there would be an N value. So I'm going to move that 3 over. So I'm going to get 121 is equal to 3n. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3 so that I can isolate my n, and my n would be 40,33, which is a decimal. So therefore, no, because n is a decimal.
Babe.
Now C.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course,
But
Tiana.
but it's concerning C.
Okay, that's fine.
So I want to give the answer actually.
Oh, you want to give the answer?
Yeah.
That would be great, Tiana.
So
Talk us through
I
C.
want to say C. No, it is not 10217 is not a term.
Is 217 not a term?
I think so, but I'm not gonna now give the formula and why, because I'm not nervous. Because I did it.
Oh no, you are absolutely right, sweetheart. 217 is not a term.
I did it like B.
It's I made this question more difficult than it needed to be. So let me just give you a different number. Okay, so let's make this 312.
Wait, ma'am.
Yeah.
When I did it, I did get a decimal.
And then you just chose the highest whole number after that.
Yeah.
That was absolutely the right thing to do. I just don't want to confuse people this late in the day. But that was absolutely right. So 217, it doesn't work in the sense as you get a decimal. You can still be given a question like this where it would be like that, but I don't want to confuse you too much because of our time. But if you did manage to do the 217 one and you got an answer, just for those of you who did it, it would be term 74. So if you had done the 217 and you were giving an answer, your answer would have been term 74. If you did it. For the brain buffs out there. Avile, can I help? Okay, I'm going to go through C, and then I'm going to leave you in Eric's capable hands to take you through the quiz for tonight. Let's go through C. So C is saying, which term is the first term to be bigger than 312? So we're saying 312 is over here. We want to figure out what its n value is, and then we want the n value right next to it because we want the term that's bigger than 312. So I'm going to substitute my 312 into my Tn. So 312 is equal to 3n minus 3. I'm going to move that 3 over. So I get 3n equals 312 plus 3, which means 315 equals 3n. And so 105 is equal to n. Okay, so that's saying that term 105 is equal to 312. Okay, that's saying that this term up here, term 105, is 312. The answer for term 105 is 312. But we want to know which term is bigger than 312, which means we care about the term right next to 105, which would be term 106. And so our final answer is the number that would be bigger than 312 would be term 106, which would be 315. So this is the answer that I care about, the term 106. Good, Joyce. I'm so glad. Sometimes it just takes a second question to kind of settle into your brain and see it as we go. But what we'll do is when we start our lesson next week, Tuesday, is we'll go over a little bit, we'll go over some of the mistakes that a few of you were going through today, and we'll go over a question like this, and then we'll jump into some picture patterns, which is what we're going to be doing on Tuesday. Nice job. You did really, really lovely today. I'm so proud of you all. I hope you have a lovely long weekend and it's filled with sunshine and adventures. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Okay, I'm going to leave you with Eric to do your quiz tonight. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, ma'am.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.